So, good evening or good afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. We're going to be talking about this upcoming heavyweight fight between Kubrat Pulev and Anthony Joshua, or Anthony Joshua versus Kubrat Pulev. As we know, Anthony Joshua now is making the first defense of his unified titles. First defense of his second reign. So we know that he lost to Andy Ruiz and he came back and won the title back from Andy Ruiz on a points decision. Kubrat Pulev has been lurking and waiting for his title shot for a long time. Last time Kubrat Pulev actually challenged for a world title was against Vladimir Klitschko. Yeah, it was that long ago that Kubrat Pulev challenged Vladimir Klitschko for the heavyweight championship of the world. In fact, we tell a bit more about Kubrat Pulev. So, he's a Bulgarian professional boxer. He held the European heavyweight title twice between 2012 and 2016, and he challenged once for the unified heavyweight championship of the world in 2014. Yeah, so Pulev's been around for ages. He's been around for absolute ages. He's no mug, okay? A lot of people want to mug off Kubrat Pulev, but don't know boxing. Kubrat Pulev's a very good boxer, very good boxer puncher. Okay, and a lot of people want to mug off Kubrat Pulev like he's some throwaway, but you need to take him very seriously. So I want to talk about Kubrat Pulev for a second, and where I myself may fall foul. Yes, good afternoon, Denise. Good to see you in the room. Good to see you in the house. Good afternoon, Ruben. Hope that you're well. So I want to start off this show by talking. I hope you can hear me loud and clear as well. I want to start off this show by the perception of Kubrat Pulev that I had going into the Klitschko fight. So Kubrat Pulev was the guy that a lot of people didn't want to fight. He was at one point the bogeyman of the heavyweight division. If you remember those times, people used to say, "Oh no, nobody wants to fight Kubrat Pulev. He's the most dangerous man in the heavyweight division." And he had the fight between him and Klitschko, a lot of bad blood between him and Klitschko. And Kubrat Pulev was a young fighter, you know. But Klitschko was more the experienced heavyweight champion. He was experienced heavyweight champion, long reigning. He knew all the tricks of the trade. Him and Vitali, they both knew the tricks of the trade. And I think Kubrat Pulev, when he challenged Vladimir Klitschko, it was very much a machismo sort of thing, you know. I've got more ball. I've got bigger balls than you. I'm a better man than you. I'm a tougher man than you. You're a wuss. You can't fight. Blah 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 blah. And he went into that fight feeling invincible. Apart that time when he fought Vladimir Klitschko, you've got to remember that Kubrat Pulev was unbeaten, never been knocked out. You mean European champion, felt he was the man, and he went in there against Klitschko, not knowing the tricks of the trade that Klitschko had. One of the tricks of the trade, and I think one of the things that I thought for sure. Yes, Reverend, good to see you in the room. I am well. Good to see you as well. One of the tricks of the trade that I believe that a lot of people missed out with the Klitschko was that canvas. And I said in the Kubrat Pulev fight, Kubrat Pulev is a guy who gives you a bit of movement. He's not flat-footed, just walks forward in straight lines. Kubrat Pulev gives you a bit of movement as a heavyweight. You know, he uses his jab to maneuver you around the ring. In that fight, if you watch that fight carefully from round one, you see Klitschko bouncing. And Kubrat Pulev can't seem to get any footing. His footing seems a bit odd. And if you've ever been, I don't know if you've ever been on a bouncing castle. Have you ever been on a bouncing castle and with your mate and ever tried to do boxing on a bouncing castle? It's the most weirdest feeling. You can't get your footing to throw punches. And I used to have back in the day the bouncing castles where you have the big boxing gloves. And I was able to do that once with one of my friends. And we went there trying to throw punches. And you're falling down all over the place and you're not able to get your balance. You can't throw proper shots. And I truly believe that fight was that Klitschko was training on a bouncy canvas and Kubrat Pulev wasn't. So when they got into fight that night, Klitschko used the 0-1-2 on him. So Klitschko had the bouncing, he was moving around, looking good. And when you're bouncing around constantly on a canvas like that, and you're used to bouncing around on that, it doesn't sap the energy out of your legs because you're used to it. Your legs and your body muscles have become used to that. However, when you have a situation like that and you're on a canvas and you're bouncing around like that, and you're training, your whole training camp is like that, you're used to that. But if you're training on a flat surface, and all your training is on a more or less flat canvas, and then you go into a fight, and you as Klitschko, you know you're bouncing around that canvas and you're able to move around, you've got an unfair advantage. And I think the Fury team knew that, or had suspicions of that, hence why they went and looked at the canvas, right? Because I've seen the way Klitschko was bouncing around. It's an old trick. You know, if you make your canvas bouncy, right, then you can't get a footing. And if you can't get a footing, you can't set any punches up. And also, if you can't get a footing, when you take a shot, you're more liable to fall over. Now, all that bouncing also as well, when somebody's bouncing and moving in front of you, it's very difficult to start putting a jab on them. And they're coming at different heights at you, right? And if you look at the Klitschko punches Klitschko was throwing, he was able to bounce. He was able to bounce, duck his head under, and throw overhand rights and left hooks out of the sight of Kubrat Pulev. Go back and look at the tape again of that. You'll see how Kubrat Pulev was every time that Klitschko tried to throw a shot, they throw the left hook or the right hand. Pulev didn't see it. He was too busy worrying about his footing. And then you look even when Pulev went down and you had one leg up. I mean, he was trying to show you weren't hurt. But Pulev was really a testosterone, really alpha male when he went and fought Klitschko. You know, I'm the man. I'm going to show you what it's about on the night. And he staggered Klitschko with a jab, but then walked straight onto a shot. And, you know, it was the beginning and the end of for Kubrat Pulev from that. But even then big, hellacious left hooks he was getting hit with, he still had the wherewithal to get back up and try and launch a fight, have a fight with Klitschko. Alas, he got knocked out by Klitschko. But take that fight aside for 1 second. Nobody else has done that to Kubrat Pulev. Nobody else has gone out and blasted Kubrat Pulev out there. Nobody's blasted Kubrat Pulev. Nobody's ever blasted Kubrat Pulev out of there. So where this idea comes from that Joshua's going to blast Kubrat Pulev out there it's fanciful. At best, it's fanciful. I'll explain why. Let's not talk about Joshua. Let's go back to Kubrat Pulev. That was a young Kubrat Pulev, and that really stuck in my mind when you first think about Kubrat Pulev and Joshua. Oh yeah, the Klitschko fight. And I remember doing a previous video saying, you know, all Josh has to do is work on the left hook, work on the left hook, work on the left hook, and you know, just set Kubrat Pulev with the left hook, and you're not Kubrat Pulev out with the left hook. That may be the case. However, Kubrat Pulev, as many people, Ruben Guerrera, who is an ageist, likes to talk, particularly in the heavyweight division, likes to talk about age. This isn't the super middleweight division. This isn't the featherweight division. This is the heavyweight division. And heavyweights, for some bizarre reason, they seem to, as they get older, they seem to get better, or with age and mature. Oh, those who dedicate themselves, of course, and you know, Lennox Lewis when he was 21, and you look at Lennox Lewis when he was 30, 35, you look at the difference in the sort of the fighter he became. So I mean, you know, Lennox became a better fighter as he got older, and he had better tutelage. Obviously, with being managed to. Obviously, that helped. So I don't sign up to think, oh well, you know, he's 40 years old, so then he's done. Because somebody gets to 40, it doesn't mean that they're done. You have to look at their fights and say, well, okay, how many tough fights has this guy been in? How many fights has Kubrat Pulev been in where he's gotten beaten up? I don't know many fights that Kubrat Pulev's been on the end of hiding. And I don't know many fights where people dominate Kubrat Pulev. I don't. And I've seen Kubrat Pulev fight different styles. Del Boy Chisora, I seen it keep Del Boy Chisora quiet. I saw Hughie Fury. I went back and looked at that fight where Hughie Fury was trying to throw the kitchen sink at Kubrat Pulev, and Pulev was, for the most part, just held his composure and just boxed. He had a moment where he was a little bit in trouble. When them big punches are flying, you do get caught with shots. But the one thing I've learned through studying Kubrat Pulev is that his defense has become much better than it once was. So So there's lots of dynamics we need to consider here. So Kubrat Pulev is a far better defensive fighter than people are giving credit for. I would say he is one of the best heavyweights in the world. One of the best heavyweights in the world. He's got one of the best jabs in the heavyweight division. He's an accurate puncher. He's got good footwork. He knows to get himself in and out. Defensively, he's pretty sound. He's experienced. He's got he's got extensive amateur background. Being two-time European champion. He's been avoided by a lot of fighters, and he's beat a lot of good names. Kubrat Pulev is no mug. It is no mug. Kubrat Pulev is dangerous, and I'll explain why he's dangerous. Kubrat Pulev. Now, the other myth about Kubrat Pulev is that Pulev can't punch. Okay, well, I went back and looked at some fights. I went back and looked at Kubrat Pulev when he fought Derek Chisora. I went back when he fought Hughie Fury. Right? Those two guys have got pretty decent chins, right? They've got pretty decent chins. And you're not guys who are just going to fall over for the sake of it. Like, Hughie Fury's never been dropped as a pro. Okay? I watch what happens when a guy gets hit with a right hand, what the reaction is. When a guy can't punch, usually the throw shot and the guy walks straight through it. I saw him stiffen Derek Chisora's legs on numerous occasions in that fight with a right hand. In fact, he hit Chisora with a jab and Chisora backed up. So Pulev can punch. Same with Hughie Fury. The amount of times Hughie Fury got tagged with a shot by Pulev and backed up. Pulev is not a noted. He's not like a Deontay Wilder. You know, go out there, bang, knock you out. He's not one of them kind of guys. But he's one of those guys who will systematically break you down. All right? And guys like that are sometimes are more dangerous because Will Wilder, well, this guy is a one-punch knockout artist. I'm going to watch out for that. With someone like Kubrat Pulev, you get the impression that, he don't punch that hard. And do you get in the ring and then you actually find yourself, oh, Jesus, that he's got a hard ramrod jab and he's got a good right hand. A good way to know if somebody is a good puncher is see how many people walk up on them. People say things about Mayweather. Oh, yeah, Mayweather. Yeah, he can't punch. How many men walk through Mayweather? How many men were able to, anytime anybody started getting close to Mayweather and he put his foot down, he landed good shots on them, they weren't too quickly to run up on him. And then you look at guys like Marcus Maidana, for example, because I know somebody's going to bring up the Marcus Maidana fight, for example. And Marcus Maidana was walking Floyd to ropes. But if you look at the second fight, where he was able to land more harder, crisper shots than Maidana, and outpoint Maidana, he really did. He used more of his boxing ability in the second fight with Maidana, and he stunned him a few times as well. So I really do think that Kubrat Pulev's punching power, boxing IQ, physical strength, that's another thing. I thought, Kubrat Pulev might not be that strong, I saw him push Chisora back. I saw him push Hughie Fury back. So height and reach. He was actually out jabbing Hughie Fury, who himself has got a very good jab. Say what you want about Hughie Fury, but one of the things he does have is an excellent left jab. One of the best left jabs in their heavyweight division. The people who will turn around and say, Pulev's a bum, right? They don't know boxing. They don't know Jack Dilly's squat about boxing, right? Pulev's no bum. Because if you're going to determine, if you're going to call Pulev a bum, then you better start calling guys like Derek Chisora a bum, Hughie Fury a bum, and all the other guys that Kubrat Pulev has beaten, call him a bum. Kubrat Pulev is a good fighter, a good, experienced, well-rounded fighter. He hasn't got a chip in his shoulder where he thinks he's unbeaten now, and he's been beaten. He's been knocked out. He knows what it feels to be knocked out. He knows what it's like to be defeated. And he's a hungry fighter. This is a guy that has not won a heavyweight championship of the world. He's not won the heavyweight championship of the world. He's not won the heavyweight championship of the world. All right? So that is something there. He's not got the He's not got all the big endorsements that AJ's got. He's hungry. So you've got a guy who's hungry, who wants to become heavyweight champion of the world, has tasted what it's like to be a European champion. So he's got the ability to become heavyweight champion of the world. And if anybody can't see that, Kubrat Pulev is a dangerous threat in this fight. That's boxing ability to one side. This guy's also got heart. He's got a good chin, and he's got a good engine. I saw Kubrat Pulev when he fought Derek Chisora and he fought Hughie Fury. Both of those guys say, "Oh, Hughie Fury is a young guy." That fight was fought at a pace. And if you look at the fight afterwards, you look at Kubrat Pulev and you look at Hughie Fury, and you think Hughie Fury is the 40-year-old. Kubrat Pulev's got stamina. He's got good stamina. He can do 12 rounds pretty easy. He's consistent. He's a good boxer. All right? He's a good boxer. He's got a wicked jab, really good jab. He can use that. Give me a right hand, it'll take me around the block. Give me a left jab, it'll take you around the world. I'm going to give you a bit of boxing science today, because anyone thinks AJ's is going to, Father Hackett, thank you so much. I appreciate that donation. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Well appreciated. Anybody thinks that AJ is just going to walk out there and blast Kubrat Pulev out there is out of their mind. AJ doesn't blast top-level opposition out there. He doesn't. He doesn't blast top-level opposition out there. He hasn't. He doesn't. Name me one top-class heavyweight that AJ's blown away. And don't say Molina. He didn't blast away Dominic Brazil. And Dominic Brazil is no way near the boxer as Kubrat Pulev. Don't talk about Klitschko, who almost had him out on his feet. Don't talk about Dillian White, who had him out on his feet almost. Don't talk about Povetkin, who Povetkin is, as much as he is, he's short and he's a brawler. He's not. I don't think Povetkin's as good a boxer as Pulev. Sorry, I just don't. I just don't. I'm sorry. I just don't. So Kubrat Pulev brings that thing there. He's hungry. He's determined. He's experienced. He knows his way around the world. He won't be intimidated by Anthony Joshua. So you see this picture here of Anthony Joshua and Kubrat Pulev. Joshua knows he's in a fight with Kubrat Pulev. Charles Martin. What the hell has Charles Martin got to do with it? What the hell's Charles Martin got to do with it? He's in. Are you comparing Charles Martin? Oh my God. Charles Martin was bought. Anybody who's got any sense wouldn't even mention Charles Martin. Charles Martin, who came into the arena eating a pot noodle. Have you ever seen Charles Martin go down like that since? He went down smiling. Charles Martin sold the heavyweight championship world. The heavyweight championship world was bought, right? It was bought. Who's seen since that fight? Have you seen Charles Martin fight like that since then? So don't talk about Charles Martin. Behave yourself, mate. Just tuck yourself in a corner, mate. Just for a second for this one. Charles Martin. I can't believe you mentioned that, Ruben. I thought you wouldn't be as naive as that. If anybody tells me that Charles Martin gave it his all when he fought Anthony Joshua, why would he? Why would you give it all when you sold your belt to Matchroom? Why would you? Why would you? Why would you give it your all? Yes, you bought the money, you bought the belt for X amount of millions, and then Martin didn't know what to do with that money. He went crazy afterwards. Remember, went crazy afterwards. So since Martin's come back, who's done that to Martin? So that fight doesn't. That fight is for me null and void. When you sell a belt, it's not a fight, is it really? So forget Charles Martin. So back to my point. Kubrat Pulev has got all the intangibles. He's got everything there to be heavyweight champion of the world. So let's put Kubrat Pulev to one side. Now we have Anthony Joshua in his second reign as heavyweight champion of the world. So in his first reign as heavyweight champion of the world, He had some issues with Dillian White. You know, he had issues with Klitschko, where Klitschko should have finished him off, and it was an accident waiting to happen. We were telling you for a long time, Anthony Joshua, in the state he was in, was an accident waiting to happen. Then this strange stoppage he had against with Takam, that no way was a stoppage. Joshua must have thrown about 4 punches that didn't even touch Takam, but he was tiring in that fight. And then we have the Andy Ruiz fight. If Joshua is foolish, he's got 2 ways to take this fight, Joshua. And there's only 2 ways Joshua can fight. We've seen now. He comes out like Joshua of old, packs on some muscle, and tries to blow Pulev out of there. Now, if he tries to blow Pulev out of there, and Pulev's still around in round 8, round 9, round 10, round 11, and he's still there, you know that Joshua's gas tank is nowhere near Kubrat Pulev's. No way near. So, if he decides to box how he did against Andy Ruiz, again, I don't believe that Joshua's boxing ability is as good as Kubrat Pulev. Who's got the better jab in this fight? It's going to be Kubrat Pulev. Kubrat Pulev controls guys with his left jab. He can control you with that left jab. It's a hard left jab. All right? And it's not the first, you know, it's not like AJ's got a great chin. He hasn't. He hasn't got a good chin. He never has had a great chin. And that's the thing. A guy like Kubrat Pulev who's accurate. Only takes 1 or 2 of them shots from Kubrat Pulev and you're in trouble. Go back to the Derek Chisora fight. Go back to the Huey Fury fight. Kubrat Pulev can punch. Might not be what AJ fans want to hear. And AJ fans didn't want to hear what I said about the Andy Ruiz fight. But this guy, Kubrat Pulev, is a serious threat. So you can just hope that he gets old overnight. Literally. But I don't see that happening with Kubrat Pulev. So the first thing is, Joshua, the battle of the jabs. Joshua's going to have to, Kubrat Pulev is going to use that jab and push Joshua back. Joshua is an effective fighter on the front foot. Meaning you allow him to get to center ring, get behind his jab, and get to work throwing big right hands. That's where Joshua is at his best. Joshua starts to have a problem when you start to get mid-range with him and close. That's where Joshua has a problem. He has no defense when you put him his back against the ropes. If Kubrat Pulev can push Joshua back against the ropes, he's ineffective as a boxer, as a fighter. His punching power is ineffective as well. If you put Joshua back against the ropes and keep him his back against the ropes, and you can do that by a good, stiff, hard double jab. Pulev has got to dictate the fight. He has got to dictate the fight. He's got to use his jab and double up the jab against Joshua. And throw the right hand through the middle. Kubrat Pulev's got a sneaky uppercut he throws as well. Doesn't throw many left hooks, Kubrat Pulev. But he has got the overhand right he throws as well. Weaknesses for Kubrat Pulev in this fight. Well, Kubrat Pulev to me seems vulnerable to the overhand right still. He seems to be, I don't know if he's not seeing that overhand right coming, but he seems to be, it seems to be an overhand right that seems to cause problems for Kubrat Pulev, or looping overhand right. I don't know physical strength as well. I don't know who, because I've heard many stories about Anthony Joshua that he's not as physically strong as he looks. So size, what size is Anthony Joshua going to come in? Is he going to be sleek and slick like he was against Andy Ruiz, or is he going to bulk up against Pulev? And then what would the strategy be when he fights Pulev? If you put Joshua, who fights, Joshua's okay until he goes on the attack. When Joshua starts to open up, that's where he leaves his chin in the air and leaves himself in problems. Technically, Pulev is the better boxer here. Joshua might be the harder puncher, but Kubrat Pulev is the better boxer. Take away the size for 1 second that looks on paper. Take the size away. But in terms of boxing ability, Kubrat Pulev is the more rounded, got a better jab, puts his punches together better, understands space and distance well, uses jab to attack and defend, actually rams his jab home, settles guys down with the jab, and dictates with that jab. So if Joshua thinks he can just walk in there and try and blast Kubrat Pulev out there, he'll make mistakes like he made against Andy Ruiz. So it's a fight where, and there's another thing that Kubrat Pulev does. If you watch him, and it's a sneaky little move he does. He uses elbows. You watch Kubrat Pulev carefully. He uses elbows to block punches. That's an old martial art move. It's a move. It's a martial art move. If the referees catch you doing it, you may have a problem with it. But use your elbows, yeah. So when a boxer's throwing punches, you catch the punch with the forearm and the actual elbow. So you watch when you throw punches to Kubrat like a right hand, he's able to block it. The other thing Kubrat Pulev has is he's got deceptive fast hands. He's got fast hands, Kubrat Pulev. For a heavyweight, he's got fast hands. He's a lot looser than AJ as well. A lot looser. And mentally, AJ's now been knocked out. He's no longer the guy that feels he's invincible. He's now the guy that has been knocked out. So he has got what happened to Kubrat Pulev when Pulev got knocked out by Klitschko. And it took Pulev some time to get over that and move on. Joshua's going right back into a world-class top-level fight after the Ruiz fight. I don't know. It's how he goes about this job. But he looks like he's going to load up and throw big bombs against Pulev. Looking by the training, looks like he's looking to sit there and throw big bombs and blast Pulev out there. Let's see what people are saying here. What's good? Yes, Lawrence, my man. What's going on? AJ's got to catch Pulev coming in. Yeah, but that would mean AJ would have to be a counter puncher. Is AJ a counter puncher? I wouldn't say he is. AJ's best form is when he's on the front foot. When he's on the front foot. AJ's worst form is when he opens up. When AJ opens up, it's like handing the heavyweight championship of the world on a plate to you. When he opens up, when he keeps tight, it bounces back and forth. That's cool. And I think AJ he's pretty predictable in his movements as well. He's not. There's nothing. What's the word? Nothing really creative about AJ when you see him box. Nothing really creative about AJ when he boxes. From what I know, he's very predictable. 1-2 back. And that you see when he bounces back and forth like that, it's easy to be timed. If Pulev can land that jab early and establish that jab, it's going to give AJ problems. And if he puts AJ into the back foot, AJ's going to have some problems, big problems. So AJ's going to have to use his jab more in this fight than he's ever used his jab. It's okay using the jab on Povetkin or Andy Ruiz. They're similar type of fighters, right? Similar types of styles. But using it against Kubrat Pulev, who's got a very good jab and a good right hand behind it, it's a different situation altogether. Let's hear what Ruben's got to say. Pulev's a weird guard. Takes fighters a few rounds to adjust to it normally. Really? Okay. So how many fighters have adjusted to that guard, Ruben? Last time I checked, only one guy adjusted to that guard. And that had nothing to do with the boxing. It had to do with the canvas. So I'm not sure what you're talking about there. The referee will be key in this fight. Yes, the referee. That's a very big point, which I missed out on. You're absolutely right there, Lawrence. Pulev is aggressive and likes to work in the clinch. Will the left let him be able to work? Well, that's going to be down to Kubrat Pulev's team. I know the other thing about Kubrat Pulev is training, his team. Experienced team, they've been around the world, they know. And you know one thing I like about Kubrat Pulev, I think was a really great move. He went to America and he joined Top Rank, and he did, and he had that experience having those few fights in America. I thought it was great for Kubrat Pulev. I thought it was really great with Kubrat Pulev. Really great. Him getting out into America. Yeah. Listen, if Kubrat Pulev hits AJ over 1-2, who in this room tonight believes AJ can take Kubrat Pulev's power? Because that's it. If AJ can take Kubrat Pulev's power, he can take that. If he can take that punching power and stay on his feet, game on. If he can't, you got a problem, because you got a guy who's accurate. This guy is a really good fighter, really good. Criticisms of Pulev, he can be at times very his word one-dimensional, consistent, but he. I don't. Is it one-dimensional or consistent? I don't know which one it is, but it's. There's no surprises when it comes to Kubrat Pulev in terms of how he throws his punches. You know, his punches predominantly the jab, the right hand, the jab, the right hand. But he's very good at it. He's very good at it. And he's not going to switch up his style now, Kubrat Pulev. So you kind of know what you're getting when you get with Kubrat Pulev. You know what you're getting. And almost at Anthony Joshua, you kind of know what you're getting. Is whether Kubrat Pulev's style is good enough to beat him. Great show, Ingram. iPhone cases on the way. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. They will pay Pulev off like they did Charles Martin. Can't afford another Ruiz mess up. It's going to be hard. I don't know if they're going to pay Pulev off. I mean, let me tell you something. I mean, Pulev's got some. He's got Top Rank behind him, hasn't he? I don't think they can pay him off like that. Do you really think they can pay him off? I mean, Top Rank. Imagine Top Rank having a heavyweight championship of the world. You think they're going to want to pay him off? Nah, I don't think so, bro. Pulev's not no two-chump guy. I don't think so. He's got to. Nah, I don't believe that'll happen with Pulev. Nah, not with Pulev. AJ points is a decent bet. Got the judges on lock. Yeah, that is it. Like I said, if AJ can absorb Pulev's punches and go out 12 rounds, and he's got to go 12 rounds, he's going to outlast Kubrat Pulev. People say, oh yeah, he lasted 12 rounds against Andy Ruiz. He did well against Ruiz. Yeah, that's Andy Ruiz. Pulev don't fight at that pace, and Pulev will be in damn good shape. I believe AJ will beat Pulev easy. Pulev don't react quick. AJ. Okay. Fair play. I think AJ can take it. If Pulev out jabs, if Pulev out jabs AJ, it will confuse and make him tentative, similar to Golota versus Bo 1. Interesting. You see, the thing is, as soon as Ruiz hit AJ in that fight, he tied him up. He tied him up. So I asked myself the question, was he just apprehensive of Ruiz, or was he apprehensive full stop? So I don't know. Is he apprehensive of Ruiz? Was he apprehensive of Ruiz, just wanted to get the job done? Or, I mean, the way they're tinkering with AJ now, is it better for him now? Are they doing a better job with AJ now? Or not? Or was it just good for that fight with Andy Ruiz? Kubrat Pulev had enough time to study AJ. He had more than enough time to study AJ. The fight was originally announced. Pulev was saying he didn't have enough time to prepare. He wasn't ready, but he was going to make the most of it. But now he's got plenty of time to prepare. He's got plenty of time to prepare to fight Joshua if the fight's in November. Plenty of time to prepare. And God forbid, if Pulev were to beat Anthony Joshua, is anybody want to go and see the Tyson fight? Is anybody going to be interested in seeing the Tyson fight? I know. Pulev KO ratio is not that high. Yeah. Right. So what? So that equates to him not knocking out AJ. Yeah, that don't. Here goes Ronald. He says AJ Chin better show up. That's what I'm saying. Don't listen. I don't know where you get that idea from, bro. I don't know where you get your ideas from. AJ's ratio's not high. I don't. I mean, Pulev's ratio's not high. Excuse me 1 second. Let me just do this. I don't know how you. I don't know how what KO ratio has got to do with this situation. I already told you already. I gave you examples of how hard this guy does punch. He hits hard enough to back up Derek Chisora. Back up. You know, Derek Chisora likes to jump on people and try and bully you. Derek Chisora couldn't bully Kubrat Pulev. He couldn't bully Kubrat Pulev. When Pulev put that jab on Chisora, Chisora backed up. You go back and watch that fight. Chisora trying to come forward, bam, gets slammed in the face with a hard jab. At one point, Pulev hits Chisora with a left jab, and Chisora's hurt just by the left jab. Like I said before, it's not about, in the case with Kubrat Pulev, like I said, it's not about him being a big knockout puncher, but he's over a cumulative effect with this guy. But this guy, you talk about KO ratio against a guy who doesn't have the greatest, he hasn't got the greatest jaw. And he doesn't fight. If you look at AJ fights, he looks spectacular when he's on the front foot and allowed to do what he wants to do. When you put pressure on AJ and you back him up, he doesn't look spectacular. He doesn't look spectacular. Look at the Klitschko fight. Klitschko put him onto the back foot. Klitschko had him on the canvas. When you put pressure on AJ, he panics, and he hasn't got a great defense. If Kubrat Pulev can establish the jab and walk AJ back to the ropes, there's a problem. Is he strong enough to do it? Yes, he is. I've given you two examples of two guys he was able to basically put the jab on, and he didn't have much of an answer to it. One shot behind the ear on the top of your head by Pulev in a clinch, and you'll have AJ dancing. You don't need to be a big puncher to do that. Pulev is 250 pounds. Educate this guy. Educate Ruben, please. Educate him. He whenever he comes into a room with us and we talk boxing, he's got this script. He's got a Sky Sports script on it. He usually follows that script. I personally don't have much faith in AJ's chin, and I don't have much faith in AJ when he's backed up. So for me, for him to beat Kubrat Pulev, three things need to happen. First of all, he's got to beat Kubrat Pulev to the jab, which means he's going to have to do it off the front foot. Does he have the speed of jab to beat Kubrat Pulev to the jab? I see Kubrat Pulev's got a normal jab, and he's got his other jab where he leaps to reach you. So he'll reach in to reach. He'll take chances. Is AJ confident enough in his chin and his ability to take chances against Kubrat Pulev, who's quite happy to step back and throw the right hand? Kubrat Pulev can box on the front foot and he can box off the back foot. If he steadies him with the jab, if he steadies AJ with the jab, cracks him with the right hand. So AJ, first of all, he's got to take the center of the ring, and he has got to be the boss. He's got to take the jab. He's got to take Pulev's jab away from him, which means using his own jab. Or Or the other thing is block the jab and counter hard with the right hand over the top. That would be AJ's. He'll have to counter the jab and come back with a right hand. The problem with that is that if AJ isn't fast enough, if he's not as fast, he might be more explosive. But if he's not as fast as Kubrat Pulev in terms of hand speed, he can find himself in a problem. Now you go back to a fight. I'm going to give you an example. Frank Bruno when he fought Lennox Lewis. Oh, Lennox, man, he's going to blast Frank Bruno out of there. So now you're trying to tell me what I've been telling you about. Pulev jab is legit, even when Vlad was. I'm telling you, Pulev has got one of the best jabs in the heavyweight division. Top 3 jabbers in the heavyweight division for me. In my opinion, you don't let Kubrat breathe on him all night like sauce on a Saturday night kebab. Stand your ground always, forward and be aggressive. Yeah? You really want to hand the heavyweight championship of the world to Kubrat Pulev, right? You want to hand the heavyweight. You are basically, if you give AJ those instructions to rush out there and try and bum rush Kubrat Pulev, you're giving the heavyweight championship away to Pulev. You got guys like you got Hugh Fury came out for a few rounds trying to take Pulev out. Where did that go? Where did that work out for him? When Chisora tried to come and try and bully Pulev, Pulev just put him on a jab. Put him on a jab. Bam. Sit down. Bam. Sit down. Pulev has the best jab in the heavyweight division. I am not going to argue that one. I'm definitely not going to argue that one. I'm not going to argue that one. He's got a better jab than AJ. He's got a far better jab than AJ. I've seen Kubrat Pulev shut guys down with that left jab properly. Not jab and run. Jab, stand his ground. So AJ's going to have to take that jab away from Pulev in an educated fashion and not leave himself open to right hands. And AJ, you know, already is vulnerable to the left hook. So he has to dictate this fight. He has to dictate this fight. But when if he starts backing up and his back is going towards the ropes, if AJ's back is touching the ropes, you can kiss them heavyweight titles goodbye. You can start to kiss them heavyweight titles goodbye. One punch that I think AJ could use in this fight is the uppercut. I think the 2 punches that Kubrat Pulev, I believe, is blind to. The overhand right and the uppercut. 2 shots. Those are the 2 shots, I believe, that Kubrat Pulev is going to be vulnerable to in this fight. Also, better endurance than AJ. See, you're mentioning the same points I've made. So, AJ's got a tough fight in his hands. Like I said, anybody who thinks that AJ's going to walk through and blast Kubrat Pulev out of there, if he does it, let me tell you, if he does it, then he blasts Kubrat Pulev out there, it is an impressive performance because you've got a guy who's experienced, who's hungry, wants to become heavyweight champion of the world, and he's got the ability to do it. So if you blast Kubrat Pulev out of there, it'll be a first because he don't blast nobody out there. He don't blast no top heavyweight out of there. He don't. He doesn't blast any top heavyweights out of there. People think like AJ's like Mike Tyson, but he's not. You know, if he's going to do it, 7, 8 rounds. Let me see. Box check. Here's Anthony Joshua. 23-1, okay? KO ratio at 7.5%. Okay. Right. So this theory that he blasts people out of there. Okay. So the Dillian White fight. Doesn't say how many rounds it went. Doesn't say on here what round he went. I know. Okay. Well, the Charles Martin fight, we know that was the belt was thrown there. The Dominic Brazil fight was what 6, 7 rounds. Molina, forget Molina for a second because he's not a top class operator. Vladimir Klitschko, you know what happened there. Takam was 10. Parker went to points. Povetkin was like 6 or 7 rounds. Ruiz He got knocked out and he got a unanimous point decision in return. So I don't know where this AJ's gonna blast him out of there. I don't know where that's coming from. Could AJ's left hook be effective? Kubrat Pulev got knocked out by Vladimir Klitschko years ago by that left hook, right? But I think Kubrat Pulev's got wise to that left hook. Like I said before, I think he's become a better fighter, a defensive fighter to that. Yeah, that's Vladimir Klitschko. And that was Vladimir Klitschko. Like, I swear you don't listen to what I said. Oh, my word. You know when people don't listen? They just want to make their point, but they don't listen. I mentioned the whole thing about the canvas. And I think I said on that night, the canvas is what beat Pulev. Because if you've been training on bouncy canvas, you've been training on bouncy canvas, and the other guy's been training on bouncy canvas, your legs, it sucks the energy out of your legs when you go and fight. You can't get balance. So I do not write. I write that Klitschko fight off. I'm sorry, because I'd like to check the canvas that night. Sorry, so I don't want to hear nothing about it. The left hook he got caught with. Yeah, he can stop him in the later rounds. He's got the tools to do it. He has to dominate the fight in the fight, or Pulev will be hard work. He won't blast him. He won't blast him out. That circus stuff. This is a real fight. Exactly. He can stop him in the later rounds. If he's going to stop him in the later rounds, like you're making a prediction in the later rounds, the only way you stop a guy in the later rounds is if you have put out. You've put out. You understand? If you're trying to play it safe, you ain't stopping nobody in no later rounds. You means you've got to do some damage. You've got to work the body. You've got to work the head. We know already that AJ don't like it to the body from the Dillian White fight and the Ruiz fight as well. AJ's not the finished article. Kubrat Pulev is the finished article. What I mean by that is Pulev is not going to get any better. This is it for Kubrat Pulev. This is his. This would be. This is it. This is the final step for Pulev to find out whether he is a world champion or not. There's no more building up fights to a world title. There's no more. Well, you know, in the next 5 years, with Kubrat Pulev, this is it. He is the finished article for him. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Ingram, what do you think? Where do you think the fight will be? Is anything 100%? I don't know. I don't know. Eddie probably will have it in his backyard. I don't know. I don't know. I got no ideas. I got no ideas. I got no idea whatsoever. All I know, I need it in a ring with a referee that's going to allow Kubrat Pulev to fight how he fights. Needs to be in a ring with Kubrat Pulev and a referee. Pulev's team need to make sure their referees are there to help him. That's what I think. That's what Pulev's team's going to need. He's going to need a referee to allow him to hold and tie up, work on the inside, make it ugly for AJ, frustrate him, work on the inside. Pulev's a better fighter on the inside as well. So, long range, Pulev's got a better jab. Mid range, Pulev's better for mid range inside, better inside fighter. AJ's still very much learning on the job. I still get that feeling with AJ. He's still learning on the job against a guy who's well-rounded in every aspect as a fighter. I like Goosen in Pulev camp. Experienced veteran trainer, hired gun. Wow, he's got. I didn't know he's got Goosen in his. Okay, that's good to know. It's good to know. So he's got experience in his camp as well. No clowns in the camp. It's good. It's good. It's good to know. But the way Stacey McKinley, Mike Tyson's former trainer, said, and he knows about heavyweights, he said, I don't like the way Josh went about his job against Ruiz. He said he's fight very scary or very, very gun shy. Pulev can put the pressure on AJ early and make him think back to that Ruiz fight. We'll see. Any final thoughts on this? Any final thoughts on any final thoughts, people, for this fight? I think AJ's got his hands full. But if he beats Kubrat Pulev, I think it's the best win of his career. Kubrat Pulev to me hasn't shown any signs of wear and tear. He hasn't been in fights where he's got beaten up. He got that one fight against Klitschko where he got, pretty hammered. But, like I said to you before, I've got my own theories about that canvas tonight. The same theories I have on that night is the same theories I have with a guy who fought Vitaly Klitschko and broke his leg on the canvas. The same guy, the other guy, can't remember his name again. He was a good heavyweight. If he's Cuban heavyweight, can't remember his name again. And I always feel that canvas was suspect that night as well. Any final thoughts, Lawrence? Reverend? Root Smitten? Any other thoughts on this particular fight? Imagine if Kubrat Pulev beats Anthony Joshua. Just for a second, what that means for the heavyweight division. Top Rank would have the belts. The Fury fight down the drain. Who's the other belt holder? Fury. So Fury versus Pulev. Who would want to see Tyson Fury versus Kubrat Pulev? Oh boy. What about this? Maybe Povetkin versus Pulev? Or White versus Pulev? Nah, I'm good. Thanks for the content. I'm going to back Joshua in the later rounds. Well, let's hope he's got stamina for that. Gomez? Was it Gomez? Was it Gomez? Yeah. Yeah, go back and look at the canvas and look how he broke his leg that fight when he fought Vitaly Klitschko. And from there, because the brothers do say they fight the same way. They've got the same sort of strategies, same sort of mentality. So I thought, yeah, all right, I'm going to come out of here. Thank you all so much for watching the show as always. Don't forget to rate, subscribe, leave the comments as always. All those fights are good. Yeah, they are good fights. Just a little shout out to Xavier Miller and Dillian White in camp at the moment. Things are going good. Got good sparring. They've got a good team. They've got good. They're doing good things. So I hear. We'll hear from Xavier in the next 2 weeks. So yeah, it's pretty hectic up at that camp at the moment. All the fighters are training and stuff. So he's got a busy schedule. But yeah. Solis. That's it, Solis. That's the guy. That's the guy, Solis. Go look at that fight again. Yeah. Right. I hope you've enjoyed the breakdown. Just hold back on the actual final prediction. But for now, because we've got until November, and who knows what happened between now and November. Right, I'm out of here, and I'll be back a little later with maybe some FIFA tonight. So I'm out. Thank you so much again for watching.